A new sticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the harshly beating raindrops on the window were much more convincing.
すっげえ降りだな。でもこれだけ盛大だとすぐに止みそうな気もするけどな。
そりゃ雨ぜ。台風の速度が遅いそうだから下手すりゃ明日も丸一日こんな調子らしいぜ。ちょっとの天気でも船は欠航するもんだしよ。
やっぱり日曜日のうちには引き上げられないか。念のため月曜日に外部とのスケジュールを入れなくて正解だったよ。
ってことは月曜の学校はサボれそうだな。島生活ってのも悪くないもんだぜ。そういやジェシカは登校って毎日船で通ってるわけだろ。船が欠航したら学校はどうなるんだ。カメハメハ大王並みに雨が降ったらお休みで風が吹いたら遅刻してか。
船が出なきゃ休みになるぜ。
Wait, hold up. Please tell me the Grimoire updated. Wait, please tell me the Grimoire updated for King Kamehameha. Damn it! Maybe it's after the scene when they update the Grimoire, or they decided not to put it in the Grimoire. Damn it! I wanted to read the description for King Kamehameha. Wait, that was the line, right? To listen to the line's voice, tap on it with one finger, left click, or enter. Oh! Wow, okay, so... That's cool. I just wanted to see something. Alright. Yeah, I just wanted to double check if I was saying the correct name. Yeah, King Kamehameha. To be fully honest, I'm not 100% sure if that was a Dragon Ball reference because, I'm gonna be honest here, I have not seen Dragon Ball, but I have plans to. But yes, okay, I wanted to double check to see if it was actually King Kamehameha, he said. Alright. I'm hoping that the Grimoire updates after this seed, so that, you know, there's an actual, you know, this description written out for the reference, but I don't think there might, I don't know if there will be.
もっともそう甘くはねえけどな。大抵その代わりに自習が指示されて後でかっちりと見られるからそうそう気楽でもねえさ。
例えば梅雨なんかの長く天気が崩れる時期だと数日間くらい登校できないこともあるんじゃねえのか。
そういうこともあるぜ。でも毎日きっちり担任から電話がかかってきてどう自習しろ何を提出しろと酸っぱく指導されるけどな。
バトラ君が考えてるほど簡単にはサボれないよ。船で通う人たちのルールに従ってしっかり勉強をしているよ。
むしろ登校できた方が気楽だぜ。自分の部屋じゃ気が散るし集中もできねえしな。それでいて問題集ばっかり数日もやらされてるとかなり精神的に応えるもんがあるぜ。大学の時にはよ寮のあるところに入ってさっさとこんな不便な島はおさらばしたいもんだぜ。
へえ。じゃあよ、ちなみに行きは天気が良くても帰りは悪くて欠航ってなったらどうすんだ。学校に泊まるのか。
そういうのはよくあることだぜ。だから帰島できない人用の宿泊所があってよそこに寝泊まりするんだよ。下手すりゃ数日間家に帰れないこともあったりするぜ。
乗車率が 200% を超えるような満員電車で毎日通勤通学しなければならない人から見てみると船の通学なんて趣があって良さそうだななんて無責任に思っちゃうけどやっぱりいろいろと苦労があるんだね。
よく無神経な観光客がそういうこと言ってるぜ。 私は島の生活なんてもうお腹いっぱいだね。早く高校出てこんな島とはおさらばしたいぜ。
高校にだって全寮制のところとかあったろうよ。なんでわざわざ新島の学校を選んだんだよ。
私は最初からそれを希望してたぜ。でもおふくろがよ、当主後継ぎとしての修行やらマナーやらがうんぬんってうるさくてよ、結局高校も地元になっちまったのさ。こんな島はごめんなぜ。早く都会で生活したいよ。雨が降ろうが槍が降ろうがラフな格好でサンダルを履けば5分足らずでコンビニに行けるような都会に引っ越したいぜ。
もう少しの辛抱だよ。高校卒業まであとちょっとでしょ。
そのちょっとも我慢できねえぜ。
Jessica stretched out and reclined on the sofa. Maybe because now was a bad time slot, there wasn't any interesting programs on. And we had nothing to do but languidly killed time until we were called for dinner. In the end, Maria had not returned to the cousin's room. She had probably been brought back to the mansion by Auntie Rosa. It had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults are having a confusing conversation. We thought we might head over to the mansion to see her, but after all, there was this lousy weather. And there wasn't much time until dinner, so we stayed where we were. Oh no. Okay, this might be Maria, but don't tell me she stayed outside the whole time trying to find her rose. I have a feeling that might be where this is going. Oh no. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered.
はーい。
お食事の準備が整いました。お屋敷へお越しください。
It was Canon-kun's voice. He went to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to call us over? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Oh well. Maybe sometimes part of a servant's duty is to go against common sense.
なんとなくお腹が空いてきた頃だったしね。行こうか。
George and Nikki turned off the television and stood up.
俺はとっくにペコペコ。本家の晩餐は毎回凝ってるしな。それに郷田さん、子牛のステーキとか言ってなかったっけ？たまらねえぜ。
親族会議の日は特に豪華になるしな。私だって楽しみだぜ。行こう行こう。
As we left the room, Canon-kun bowed silently and respectfully.
じゃあ行こうぜ。外の振りはだいぶひどいだろう。
はい。お召し物を濡らさぬよう十分ご注意ください。
After seeing the three of us out, Canon-kun peered into the empty room.
マリア様はいらっしゃいませんか？
Oh no! Oh, she stayed outside. She wasn't brought back to the mansion.
一緒じゃないぜ。ローザおばさんと一緒じゃないのかよ。
Oh no. Rosa, laying on a sofa in the empty parlor, had fallen asleep at some point. She was bearing a burden on her shoulders that the children could never even imagine. Therefore, when she let herself relax, that exhaustion quickly led her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she had received an electric shock. When she realized that the thing that had touched her was just a blanket, and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her, she let out a sigh of relief.
起こしてしまいましたか。失礼いたしました。
いえ、いいの。寝るつもりじゃなかったから。今は何時なの？
Asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket.
6時を少し過ぎたところです。
Rosa gave her head a little shake as she realized that. Even though it had felt like she had slept for a long time, not much time had actually passed. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that wrapped around her felt very deep.
ありがとう。毛布は結構よ。変な時間に眠っちゃダメね。すっかり時間の感覚が狂っちゃったわ。雨、とうとう降り出したのね。
Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain that had started falling.
風もだいぶ出てるよね。いよいよ台風なのかしら。
そのようにテレビでは申しております。遅い台風だそうで、明日いっぱいはこんな調子だそうです。
そう。この素敵なバラ庭園も日中のあれが見納めだったのね。
From the window, what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain.
マリア。そうだ。マリアは？
私はお見かけしておりませんが。
Hour of darkness.
ゲストハウスにお戻りではないでしょうか。
Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, and a chill ran up her back. Maria was stupidly straightforward, to the point that stupidly could be repeated 7 times. Stupidly, 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 stupidly. I think that might have been 8. And if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever. Even if rain was pouring down!
違うわ。いとこの子たちは先に行ってしまったから、あそこにはマリア一人。あの子は誰かにもうやめろと言われない限り、たとえ槍が降ってこようとあそこに居続けるわ。傘もささずに。私は感情に任せてなんてことを。
As her mother, she had known about Maria's foolish straightforwardness better than anyone, yet she had once again lost control of her emotions and done such a horrible thing. Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hallway. The outside really looked like a typhoon, and was pouring down magnificently. Maybe because of some figure of the terrain, the winds were not as strong as a typhoon, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it was enough to call it a storm. There was no time to admire the roses being soaked by the rain.
とりあえず今はマリアが気になるぜ。まさかあの後も ずっと一人でへそ曲げてあそこでバラ探しをしてるなんてことはないよな。
そうだね。さすがにこの雨じゃと思いたいところだけど、マリアちゃんはたまにすごく頑固でものすごく愚直な時がある。
We hadn't worried much, thinking that Auntie Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, it was concerning that Kanekun had thought that Maria was here when he came from the mansion to call us.
お屋敷ではお見かけしませんでしたので、てっきりこちらにおられるとばかり。
Oh boy.
ローザ様は仮眠を取られておいででしたので。
Even though I know things are going to get very horrible in this mansion, if nothing bad happens, like if nothing bad were to actually happen, even though yes, something definitely is going to happen, but if something bad doesn't happen at all anyway, well, in the case something bad didn't happen during this time, which something bad does happen, I can bet, because what would the story be if nothing bad happens? But at the same, but okay, I digress. Even if everything that is supposed to happen in the mansion never actually goes down, I'm being vague because I actually don't know what happens. I have to be vague because I know there's going to be a murder mystery, but I don't know how vast this murder mystery is going to be. But I just know this is going to be a murder mansion mystery. But regardless, I digress again. Even if something bad never were to happen to begin off with, Maria is going to get such a terrible cold. She is going to get such a terrible cold. Because she's out in a fucking typhoon. She's going to get so fucking sick. Especially for a 9-year-old. That is bad for a 9-year-old's health to be out in the rain and cold and wind. Typhoon levels!
ここに来る途中に見かけなかったのかよ。
申し訳ございません。傘を差し急ぎ駆け抜けたもので、そこまでの注意を払いませんでした。
If he had cut through the rose garden on the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, then he would have missed the place where Maria had been looking for her rose by a little. And it was raining this hard too. There was a good chance that Kanekun had failed to notice her.
ここで議論するより直接確かめる方が早いぜ。兄貴、ちょいとかけっこといこうじゃねえかよ。
6年成長したから僕に勝てるつもりかい？よし、決着をつけようじゃないか。行こう。
George and Nikki and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Kanekun followed us.
ローザおばさんだ。おばさん。
When George and Nikki called back, Auntie Rosa flew at him in what almost amounted to a tackle.
マリアはどこ？ジョージ君たちと一緒じゃないの？
いえ、僕たちはあの後マリアちゃんには出会ってません。
6 years ago, Maria had been 3 years old. She had been a cute and pure kid who would just accept whatever anyone said. But 6 years have passed since then. She was 9 now, and experiencing the good and bad parts of life should have taught her something. And yet, she's still just as innocent and pure as she used to be? As I circled the rose bed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Maria, holding a white umbrella, was crouching, still searching for that rose. At least she had an umbrella. Her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight.
お前まだ探してたのか。
見つからない。マリアのバラ見つからない。
Maria had probably been there since the rain had started pouring down. It looked like her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she was not completely soaked. It was probably an umbrella from the handbag that Maria was always walking around with. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness.
バトラ君、よかった、見つけたんだね。
I think this kind of proves what I was saying in the previous episode about Rosa. She is not intending to, be super mean to Maria after, getting fed up due to a lot of the stress that she's been feeling in her work life, stress with her family life, and also the stress of, not being really able to understand her daughter too much, especially since her daughter obviously has some, issues of her own, which kind of, is shown through the way she still continues to do the ooh things. She continues doing the oohs, which definitely shows there is something more to Maria than, most people would be able to see. And while Rosa is trying to understand it and trying to, help her in a sense, I'm not 100% sure if I'm 100% correct. Well, Rosa's trying to, get her to, stop doing the ooh things. She, at the same time, is not really knowing what she should do regarding her own daughter, for which her actions may not have been the best, but she had not really, meant to do them, for which is slightly more or less of an understandable thing. Like, I'm not gonna hold that too accountable to Rosa, like, it's kind of understandable, though very wrong. Like, she made a big mistake, but I'm not gonna hold her, I'm not gonna hold that against her for now. So yeah, it definitely shows that, this definitely shows that Rosa's not that bad of a mom. Especially how concerned she is right now. Auntie Rosa threw her own umbrella away and hugged Maria. Also, by the way, I actually do call a family member of mine Auntie Rosa. So, it's very natural for me to say Auntie Rosa because I actually have an Auntie Rosa. Yeah, there's someone in my family called Auntie Rosa. So, it's really, I'm used to saying it because I know someone who I call by that name. It's slightly weird seeing it in a visual novel though, but it's something that I can relate to.
マリアのバラがない。
後でママも一緒に探してあげるから。だから今日はお預けにしなさい。
I'm gonna turn down the sound effects real quick because I thought the sound effects would not include the rain, but I think the sound effects include the rain. So let me turn down the rain for a second. Fuck, I don't. How do I do this? Okay, there we go. Effect volume. Oh, I had it down to begin with, but I'm gonna have to turn it down a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I turned down the rain a little bit more, so let's get back to the game now.
今日はお預け。
It looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy left to resist. Jessica and Kanakun caught up with us.
すぐにお屋敷でタオルの用意をさせましょう。
マリア、ずっとここにいたのか。
ごめんね。本当に悪いままでごめんね。
ローザおばさん、とりあえずお屋敷に行きましょう。このままじゃマリアちゃん風邪をひいちゃう。
そうね。マリア、行きましょう。ちゃんときれいにしないとおじい様に怒られちゃうわよ。
As if Grandpa wants to see her.
お腹すいた。
もう食事の時間だぜ。マリアはよく頑張ったよ。天気が良くなったら私たちも一緒に探してやるから。
We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as weak as I had thought. When she remembered that dinner was calf steak, she started chanting, "I'm hungry! Hungry! Woo!" and returned to her usual healthy self. Auntie Rosa didn't chide Maria on her "woo."
そっか。傘を持っていたのか。さすがマリアは物持ちがいいぜ。
マリア、傘なんか持ってない。
What?
なんだよ。じゃあその手に持ってる白い傘はどうしたんだよ。
貸してもらった。
It seemed that some caring person had brought her an umbrella. A normal girl would look for shelter once it started raining, but there was no way Maria's stubbornness would be broken by something like that. So maybe that person gave up on recommending that she find shelter, and at least brought an umbrella for her.
そう。その人にお礼を言わないとね。誰？
I expected her to say something like that! I fucking knew that was coming! I knew that was coming! The name that Maria mentioned very happily was that of the island's witch. I knew that was coming! I knew as soon as she said I didn't bring this, she was gonna say fucking Beatrice. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to avoid hurting Maria's feelings now that she was happy.
そう。よかったわね。それで誰なの？傘を持ってきてくれた人は。
おお、ベアとリーチェ。
Maria, who quickly picked up that her mother didn't believe her, made an angry face once again. So Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It looked like it would be faster to ask the person who had lent Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself.
Otou-san, せめて晩餐にだけは出席してください。これでは親族会議になりません。
Along with a dull pounding on the door, the sound of Klaus's intrigue could be heard. I'm gonna pronounce it as Klaus for this episode. I think it's actually Klaus, not Cross. However, that voice seemed to harbor a sense of resignation, that his sound would not reach its intended ears.
金蔵さん、せめて夕食くらいは出んかね。あんたの顔を見ようと息子さんたちが集まってきてるんじゃないか。
黙れ南條。ビショップが聞かぬか。言って足りぬ。
Apparently, Kinzo was completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. His brow wrinkled. He continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. Klaus's voice didn't reach his ears.
金蔵さん、私も腹が減った。下に降りて食事をせんか。
ならばお前だけで行くといい。私はもうしばらくこの一手を吟味させてもらうぞ。今夜で決着をつけてやる。さもなくばお前との決着は金輪際つけられそうにないからな。
Nanjo stood from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same. But Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess. But he had never seen Kinzo as focused as he was now. He was acting almost as though, just as he had said, if the game wasn't finished tonight, there would never be another chance for them to continue their contest. Further attempts to persistently call him would surely not reach his heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Klaus was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Klaus took a step back. Surely Kinzo hadn't actually come out. But it was Nanjo who stood at the door. Klaus breathed a sigh of relief.
南條先生、親父殿は。
お役に立てなくて申し訳ございませんな。
Was he about to ask if his dad was dead?
今や金蔵さんの世界はこの部屋だけです。
Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. I thought Klaus was about to ask, is he dead? Klaus raised his fist once more and banged on the door shouting.
お父さん、聞こえますか。私たちは下へおりますが、気が向かれたらいつでもおいでください。息子兄弟一同、ずっとお待ちしておりますよ。
The voice was very loud, and the door was being noisily pounded on. There was no way that it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. It was reaching him. However, he was ignoring it anyway. However, unlike the time he was being called down for lunch, he did not get into a rage. Kinzo was now simply calm at heart. And it was almost as though he had attained peace by turning himself over to fate.
晩餐にも息子たちの顔にも興味はない。私がここを出るのはベアトリーチがよみがえる時か、私が鍵の生贄に選ばれた時だけだ。もう悪魔のルーレットは回っている。今さら晩餐に何の意味があろう。
As though the painfully loud banging on the door had completely failed to enter his hearing, Kinzo, in a state of total peace, suddenly thought about his next chess move. Just as always, Kinzo was the only one missing from the dining hall. Klaus, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo.
親父殿は相変わらずご気分が優れられないそうだ。年に一度の親族が集まるこの機会に同席できないことを非常に残念がられておられた。
Nice joke. Ava and Rudolph snickered. Judging by Kinzo's character, he didn't regret it at all. Hold on. If I'm pronouncing his name right. Oh no. It says pronunciation is actually Klaus. That means there's Klaus, and Rudolph. Santa Claus. Oh my god, is there any meme videos of that? Is there meme videos of Santa Claus? Santa Claus. Is that how you actually pronounce it? Because if so, we have Claus and Rudolph. Oh no. Where is Blitzen, Donner, Dashing? I don't know all the reindeers' names. I think one was like, Donner, Blitzen. Was there a dancer? No, I don't think there was a dancer. I don't remember the Rudolph's name, though. The reindeers' names. God. I think there's only a Rudolph. But if all the other reindeer have characters later on in this game, that would be hilarious. If there's like a bunch of different characters that show up later that represent all the other reindeer. Oh, I wonder if they used to laugh at Rudolph and call him names. Judging by Kinzo's character, he didn't regret it at all. And none of his relatives regretted that he hadn't appeared either.
ではディナーを始めようじゃないか。ゴーダ、始めたまえ。
かしこまりました。
You took Maria's rose, didn't you, you motherfucker?
それでは始めさせていただきます。
Upon finally being told to begin the family conference dinner, his highlight scene for the whole year, Goda nodded, grinning broadly.
マリアに傘を貸してくれた人は誰かしら?
When Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone there turned their attention to her at once.
傘? 何の話? さっきマリアがバラ庭園にいた時に雨が降り出して誰かに白い傘を借りたみたいなんだけどお礼が言いたくて。
俺たちじゃねえぜ。ローザが出てった後は部屋を移してずっと仲良くおしゃべりをしてたからな。
はは、そうやで。あの後も兄弟で仲良くおしゃべりをしとったのや。
The word friendly fell awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips. So that even those that hadn't realized that... even those that hadn't been there realized that it had been a pleasant conversation. I'm gonna reread that entire line, I'm sorry. The word friendly fell awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips. So that even those that hadn't been there realized that it hadn't been a pleasant conversation.
少なくとも私とエヴァとルドルフとあと秀吉さんとキリエさんではないことも確かだがね。
私たちは夏日姉さんとローザさんが出て行った後もずっと一緒だったわ。食事の時間までずっとね。
さんは源氏さんと一緒にお父様を呼びに上の書斎へ。私たちはそのまま食堂へ直行したもの。だから私たちではないわね。傘を貸すなんて親切、使用人の誰かじゃないの？
じゃあ合田さん？
私はずっと厨房で準備をしておりましたもので、申し訳ございません。
Goda looks slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off. Fucking show off. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with... Oh boy. Pushing a serving cart loaded with... Hors d'oeuvres. I really don't think it's hors d'oeuvres.
The hors d'oeuvre paired fresh squid with
hors d'oeuvre?
The hors d'oeuvre.
Hors d'oeuvre? It's hors d'oeuvre? It's pronounced hors d'oeuvre, not hors d'oeuvres. I give apologies to all my viewers. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with hors d'oeuvre.
じゃあ熊沢さんかシャノンちゃんかしら。はい。何か粗相がございましたでしょうか。
Shannon shrunk, mistakenly thinking that she was being accused of making some error, having come in part way.
違うよ。マリアちゃんがバラ庭園に一人でいた時に雨が降ってきてね。誰かが傘を貸してくれたんだよ。ローザおばさんがその人にお礼を言いたいって言うのさ。
ああ、ベアトリーチェ。
Maria, her mouth a thin line, said the witch's name in a small voice. Auntie Rosa explained the situation one more time. As she did, Kumasawa-san cackled.
私たちでもございませんよ。私もシャノンさんも一緒にお部屋の準備をしておりましたから、お外には出ておりません。はい。
気が利かなくてすみません。
部屋の準備とは何のことかね。
この雨ですから客人の皆さんがゲストハウスにお帰りになられるのも大変かと思って、使用人たちに屋敷内の客室の準備をするように命じたのです。あら、気が利くじゃない。そうね、この雨の中表に追い出すのは失礼だものね。
もう予算か。
はい。奥様からそのようにご指示を受けまして、私と熊沢さんとカノン君の3人で準備をしておりました。そしてご夕食の時間になり、源氏様からゲストハウスのお子様方をお呼びするようご指示をいただいたため、カノン君が言ってくれたのです。
ええ。ですからカノンさんがゲストハウスに行かれる時にマリアさんを見つけて傘をお渡ししたのではありませんか。
ほー、違う。
The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. And she had thought that asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately.
じゃあ夏日姉さん。
ごめんなさい。私は皆さんとの仲良くの語らいの後、頭痛がひどかったので自分の部屋で休んでいました。 ですから表へは出ていません。
なら誰なの？ジョージ君たち？なわけないわよね。
いえ、僕たちじゃありません。僕たちはずっとゲストハウスでテレビを見てました。
むしろ私たちはマリアはおばさんと一緒に屋敷に行ったとばかり。
そこへカノン君が来て、マリアは一緒じゃないのかと聞いたんで、初めて屋敷にはいないのかって分かったんだよ。第一俺だったら傘を貸すより先に手引っ張って屋根の下に連れて行くぜ。
Beckoning. Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and the servants were claiming that it wasn't them, even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. With that, by process of elimination, the number of people it could have been wasn't large.
もちろん私でもありませんな。雨が降り始めてすぐの頃、金蔵さんの部屋を訪ねて、ついさっきまで一緒にチェスをしておりました。
ということはおじい様でもないよね。
なんだなんだ、妙な話になってきたぜ。あと残るのは誰だ？
じゃあ誰？源氏さん？ちょっと待って、勘違いしないでくれる？別に私は何かの犯人探しをしてるんじゃないのよ。雨の中のマリアに傘を差し伸べてくれた人に母としてお礼が言いたいだけなの。
Given an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why? Everyone started whispering about how strange this had gotten.
落ち着けよローザ。傘を借りた本人に聞けばいいじゃねえか。
An idea that everyone agrees would make sense. They were all scratching their heads at why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked.
どうりや。ルドルフ君の言う通りやないか。
マリアちゃん、おじさんに教えてえな。マリアちゃんに傘を貸してくれたのは誰や？
ベアトリーチェ。
The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant. But that soon broke, and it was wrapped in laughter.
なるほど。森の魔女ベアトリーチェが不憫に思って傘を貸してくれたか。いい話じゃないかね。ローザ、そういうことだ。
Rosa didn't seem satisfied. She just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella. Why did everything have to be so clouded in smoke?
クラウスおじさんの言う通り、ベアトリーチェが貸してくれたの。
それはよかった。無垢だというのは実に羨ましいことではないか。なあ、諸君。
Klaus was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking her. But Maria, apparently feeling that her claim was being believed, was overjoyed.
一体どうなってんの？まさか本当に魔女が現れて傘を貸したってのかよ。
Jessica asked me in a small voice that wouldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from him.
マリアって冗談が言えるタイプだっけ？
If we had heard that kind of story pop out of the if we had heard that kind of story pop out of that old bastard's mouth, we'd have just taken it as another joke. However, coming from Maria's mouth, it became somewhat inexplicable, strangely unsettling.
いや、昔から愚直なぐらい正直で真面目だよ。普通なら聞いただけで嘘と分かるような冗談すら鵜呑みにするタイプだぜ。マリアから冗談を言い出すなんて聞いたこともない。
This terrifying thought just popped into my head. Kenzo dressed up like Beatrice and handed Maria an umbrella. Kenzo dressed up like the woman in the painting. Well, no, that wouldn't work because he was with Nanjo the whole time, so that wouldn't work. So Genji dressed up like Beatrice and gave Maria the umbrella. He's the only answer. Genji dressed up like Beatrice and handed her an umbrella. Mystery solved, everyone. Auntie Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore.
じゃあマリアがベアトリーチェに傘を借りたと言ったなら、それは間違いなくベアトリーチェなのか？
マリアに関してだけは何かの比喩とか冗談とかそういうことは考えられねえぜ。額面通りの意味だと思うべきだろうよ。
じゃあなんだよ。源氏さんあたりがあの肖像画のごついドレスを着てマリアに傘を持って行ってやったっていうのか？
Come on, it gotta make sense.
そんなことは知らねえぜ。私が聞きたいくらいさ。
Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression wasn't completely joking. Once the... Fuck, I forgot the... What was the pronunciation? Oh, once the once the Hordors were set out and Goda showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant. It was a quiet dinner, granting no respite from the intrusive sound of rain that was creeping into the dining hall. God, I'm sorry. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant. It was a quiet dinner, granting no respite from the intrusive sound of rain that was creeping into the dining hall. Kumasawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Cannon on their way to the kitchen.
源氏さんですか？マリア様に傘を貸されたのは。
傘？何のことだ？
はい。雨が降り出した時にマリア様は一人でバラ庭園におられたそうで、そこでどなたかに傘をお借りになったそうなのですが、それがどなたかわからないのです。
Why would I confess that I put on the dress and wig to give Maria an umbrella?
僕じゃないよ。 マリア様はゲストハウスにいると思ってたくらいだからね。バトラ様が最初に見つけられた時にはもう白い傘をお持ちだった。
申し訳ないが、それは私でもない。
じゃあまさか親方様でしょうか。
Everyone in both the dining hall and the place where they were standing now had stated that it wasn't them, which meant that only Kenzo was left, but
何かのご用で廊下を歩かれている時、偶然バラ庭園に傘もささないマリア様が見えたとか。
親方様はマリア様のことをあまりお好きではない。
同感だね。親方様がマリア様のために直々に開花までお越しになって傘をお持ちくださるとは考えられないよ。
あら、困りましたわね。ではマリア様に傘をお貸しになられたのは本当にベアトリーチェ様ってことに
Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke violating the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see that it was Goda, who was coming out of the dining hall.
さあさあ皆さん、ディナーは配膳のタイミングも大事です。すぐにスープの配膳に取り掛かってください。源氏さん、彼女らは大切なお仕事中ですのでお引き止めになられないでください。
Cannon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Cannon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Cannon once on the shoulder as if to warn him. Cannon reluctantly turned away and turned his expression to normal.
ゴーダの指示に従いなさい。今は晩餐の配膳を急ぐように。
ほらほら、時間がありません。タラタラしない。急ぎますよ。
Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and drove it past her, heading towards the kitchen at pace.
では私どもも厨房に戻らせていただきます。幸田さんも気の短い方ですからね。
私もこれで失礼いたします。
Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Cannon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Hell's Halls.
源氏様、ベアトリーチェ様が本当にお戻りになられたのでしょうか。
わからん。
親方様にお知らせしますか。
せずともよい。本当にお戻りになられたなら、やがておのずと親方様の前へ現れよう。
Oh, Kenzo's so fucking that dead.
それに、あれは気まぐれなお方。
Oh, he might not be dead. He's been talking about a roulette at 6, so he might not be dead?
親方様にご報告申し上げたところで、お姿を現されないことには何の意味もない。
親方様の儀式はすでに始まっているということでしょうか。
おそらく。だがそれは我ら家具には何の関わりもないこと。
There's furniture again.
親方様に受けたご恩を最後の瞬間までお返しするのみ。
はい、それが僕たち家具の務めです。
thunder crashed once more. Except for that instant when the lightning lit up the sky, all that could be seen out of the window was the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, the time when the sun is down is ruled by those that are not human. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokenjima was ruled not by the Ushiyamiya family, but by another master. Did this master take pity on Maria when she was alone and humbled by the rain in the rose garden, and lend her an umbrella? Cannon looked at those rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights were not enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Cannon forcibly averted his gaze. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. Perhaps the weather was also a factor. You often hear stories about how things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been making periodic attempts to clear the gloomy atmosphere. But any conversation was quickly cut off, and in the end of the dining hall was simply buried by the sound of the rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake, accompanied by Pierre Sherbet. God damn it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me repeat that line. Dessert was... I'm gonna repeat 2 lines, actually. You know what? I'm gonna repeat this entire thing. Perhaps the weather was also a factor. You often hear stories about how things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been making periodic attempts to clear the gloomy atmosphere, but any conversation was quickly cut off, and in the end, the dining hall was simply buried by the sound of the rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake, accompanied by pear sherbet. Goda-san enthusiastically explained the recipe as if delivering the coup de grace, but I quickly forgot the details. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent. The weather was horrible, and the person who had lent Maria the umbrella was still a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It was too late now, but I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of a meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Goda-san, the supposed conductor of this performance called dinner, did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right. But it seemed they didn't quite get there. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Claus spoke.
やれやれ。せっかくゴーダが腕を振るってくれた晩餐も、こうも沈み込んでしまっては実に味気ないというものだ。
まったくね。今日は何を食べても美味しく感じられない、そういう気分よ。
ほう。どうしてそういう気分なのか聞きたいね。心が晴れ晴れできるよう兄として後で協力させてもらうよ。
Auntie Ava grimaced slightly. I had already heard that she was not on good terms with Uncle Claus, but now I could clearly feel it. When I looked around, I noticed that my dad and Auntie Rosa were also grimacing. Anyhow, it looked like there was something besides the weather that was troubling all of them.
エヴァおばさんもうちの親父もずいぶん機嫌が悪そうっすね。
そう？私はそうは思いませんよ。
I asked Aunt Nasuhi, who was sitting on my right, but it looked like she was also in a bad mood. She snapped back as though she was absolutely not interested.
まあちょいと大人な話で込み入ってな。バトラ君たち子供は気にせんでええ話や。はははは。なあ夏日さん、キリエさん。
Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness. So I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their adult conversation had actually become. On top of that, even Aunt Nasuhi and Kyrie-san, the people he had directed his comment to, ignored him as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they had been having while the kids were away. But it reminded me of how Dad had said he had stomach cramps when we had arrived at the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi was ignored by the other adults, an awkward silence fell over the room. Kyrie-san spoke up.
子供たちの進路はどうなるのかしらとか、そういう話よ。
Oh, don't lie.
バトラ君は将来はどうするの？
Oh, were they lying? Or no, I think she's just trying to make conversation. Sorry.
ぼんやりと大学進学？そんなのじゃ長い人生レースのスタートラインとしては心細いわよ。
あいたたたたたった。キリエさん、飯の最中にそんな話されちまったら消化不良で便秘になっちまうぜ。
そうやそうや、バトラ君やジェシカちゃんの進路の話をしとったんや。将来のことは真剣に考えんとあかんで。
Hideyoshi heartily agreed, as if they really had been talking about that. But they probably hadn't. Yeah, Kirie's lying. Kyrie-san had obviously been trying to avoid talking about something. However, if Kyrie-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I decided to cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Auntie Ava and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kurosawa-san and Shannon-chan served it to everyone. Goda-san then explained that, with this, tonight's dinner was over. If I had been able to eat in a more cheerful mood, it might have been the best dinner of my life. It was a shame that this greatest of dinners couldn't have been had under the greatest of conditions. Thanksgiving dinner when the only conversation is about the election that year. I can definitely relate right now to an awkward dinner.
うん。これでおしまいだよ。
はしてないわよ。お席について落ち着いてジュースを飲みなさい。
Maria looked like she was really excited about the occasionally crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter. So, when she heard from George and Nikki that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then stood from her seat, took out her handbag, which she had set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, and began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned with this behavior.
なんだいそれは。どこから持ってきたの？
George was the first to notice it. As he spoke, Battler also noticed. When they looked, they noticed that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-styled envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Ushiro Miya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, it was sealed with dark red wax, imbuing a level of class upon it that made it clear that this was not something that Maria should be carrying around for fun.
マリアちゃん、それは何？
Beatrice didn't just give her an umbrella. It seemed that Nasuhi had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope that Maria was holding. Because her voice sounded too serious to be admonishing a small child, the other relatives around her finally noticed.
どうしたよ、夏日姉さん。
それ何？マリア、あなたそれをどこで拾ったの？
She's gonna say Beatrice gave it to her.
その封筒は金蔵さんの？
As Nanjo muttered that, even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushirimiya family head's custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, we could only mean one thing. This envelope contained the message from Kinzo.
ほう。どうしてそんな封筒がここにあるんだね。
こいつは面白いもんが飛び出してくるぜ。
ちょいとわしに見せてみ。
おい、ダメ、マリアが読むの。マリアがみんなに読んで聞かせなさいって言われたの。
Oh, here we go! Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out from Maria's hands, but she protected it as though hugging it, and didn't let go.
秀吉兄さん、子供相手に力ずくなんていけませんよ。マリアちゃん、その封筒はどうしたの？
傘を貸してくれた時にベアトリーチェにもらった。ご飯が終わったらマリアがみんなに読んで聞かせろって言われた。マリアは魔女のメッセンジャーなの。
メッセンジャー？この島の魔女様は随分と洒落てるじゃねえかよ。
Battler tried to joke about it, but no one went along with him.
それで中には何て書いてあるのかしら？マリアちゃん。
Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it in the center of the table, where Nasuhi, Kirie, and Nanjo glared at it. Imprinted there in the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushirimiya family crest, and also Kenzo's personal crest.
これは当主様の紋章？
私は金蔵さんに手紙をもらったことがあるからわかる。これは間違いなく金蔵さんの風浪だ。
でもこのお屋敷にはそれと同じ紋章がいくつもあるのでは？例えば風浪用のハンコのようなものがあれば金蔵さんでなくても風浪はできるのでは？
いや、金蔵さんは風浪には必ず自分が指にしている後ろ宮家当主の証の指輪で刻印をする。この形や複雑な意匠は間違いなく金蔵さんの風浪だ。
そうとは限らんよ。親族であれば一度くらいは親父の手紙を受け取ったことはあるはずだ。その風浪をもとに偽の紋章を作り、親父殿を語って刻印した可能性が否めない。
兄貴に同感だ。風浪に刻印されている紋章がどれだけ親父のものに酷似していたとしても間違いなく親父のものであるとは証明不能だぜ。だからその封筒が親父のものであるという証拠にはならない。
私も全く同じよ。風浪の刻印だけでお父様の手紙だなんて決めつけることには同意できないわ。南條先生、曖昧な言葉は慎んでいただけるかしら。
これは失礼。出過ぎた口でしたな。
One after another, all the siblings, from Klaus on downwards, rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope that Maria was holding had not necessarily been sent by Kinzo. They were afraid. Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and they feared from the bottom of their hearts that it might be some decidedly unfavorable announcement regarding the inheritance. Oh boy. When they think it's talking about the inheritance, when it's actually about their doom. That was too cheesy. That was too cheesy on my part.
マリア、その封筒は傘を貸してくれた人がくれたのね。ふうじゃわからないでしょ。そうなの？
つまり魔女ベアトリーチェが傘と一緒にマリアちゃんにその封筒を。
Maria nodded forcefully.
主人に私も同感です。得体の知れない何者かが手渡した怪文書です。読むにも値しません。
せめて読むくらいいいじゃねえかよ。なあ。
Butler said it to Jessica in a small voice, pretending to stir things up, but Nasuhi heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes.
それでマリアはそのベアトリーチェに食事が終わったら読めって言われたんだな。
いいじゃないの皆さん。これはおじい様の封筒ではなくベアトリーチェの封筒。誰が書いたのかはともかく中身を聞いてからの判断でもいいんじゃないかしら。
そうやな。お父さんが書いたとは限らんが中身が気になるんは事実や。マリアちゃん、さっきは無理やり取ろうとしてすまんかった。謝るからみんなの前でそれ読み上げてくれんか。
マリア、読みなさい。
As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle.
本当に親父の手紙だと思うか？
ありえんね。親父殿が私たちに何かを発表するときは 直接でなければいつだって源氏さんを通してじゃないか。
I hear a clock in the background. I hear that. Wait, is that coming from outside? No, that's coming from the game. Okay. I hear a clock.
このようなこじゃれた方法でするとは思えんね。
そうよ。マリアをメッセンジャーに？それこそお父様の趣味じゃないわよ。ローザ、これはマリアちゃんが私たちを脅かそうという何かの隠し芸なんでしょ？
マリアはそんな気の利いたことができる子じゃないわ。
The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason, it felt like her voice was different than usual. Everyone went suddenly silent. Suspicious scent.
剣島へようこそ、後宮家の皆様方。
Oh, this is jamming.
私は金蔵様にお仕えしております当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
そんなアホな。
黙って。
長年にわたりご契約に従いお仕えしてまいりましたが、本日金蔵様よりその契約の終了を宣告されました。よって本日をもちまして当家顧問錬金術師のお役目を終了させていただきますことをどうかご了承くださいませ。
くだらん、ざれ言だ。
聞くに耐えません。
さてここで皆様に契約の一部をご説明しなければなりません。私ベアトリーチェは金蔵様にある条件とともに莫大な黄金の貸与をいたしました。その条件とは契約終了時に黄金の全てを返還すること、そして利息として後宮家の全てを頂戴できるというものです。
むちゃくちゃや。
初めっからむちゃくちゃだぜ。
要するにあれだろ、よくある悪魔の契約みたいなやつなんだろ。ほんで契約がおしまいってことになるから利子を回収に来たってわけだ。いや長年の退職金のつもりかな。ちゃっかりした魔女だぜ。
Valor, the one person that's making a joke out of all of this.
バトラ君、今は茶化さない方がいい。
Battler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? At the same time, some of the adults' faces were pale, while others looked completely shocked.
これだけをお聞きならば皆様は金蔵様のことをなんと無慈悲なのかとお嘆きにもなられるでしょう。しかし金蔵様は皆様に富と名誉を残す機会を設けるため特別な条項を追加されました。その条項が満たされた時に限り私は黄金と利子を回収する権利を永遠に失います。
特別な条項？
それは何よ。
特別条項。契約終了時にベアトリーチェは黄金と利子を回収する権利を持つ。ただし隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェはこの権利を全て永遠に放棄しなければならない。利子の回収はこれより行いますが、もし皆様のうちの誰か一人でも特別条項を満たせたなら、すでに回収した分も含めて全てお返しいたします。なお回収の手始めとしてすでに後宮本家の家督を受け継いだことを示す後宮家当主の指輪をお預かりさせていただきました。 封印のろうそくにてそれをどうかご確認くださいませ。
これがそうだというのか。親父が指輪を手放すなどありえん。
Klaus was staring at the sealing wax as though he was trying to burn a hole through it. Ava and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder.
確かにチェスの時、金蔵さんの指に何か足りんような違和感は感じ取りました。
南條先生、おぼろげな記憶でいい加減なことを言わないように。
その心眼をここでは測れないわ。本当に指輪をお父様は確かに手渡したのか、この手紙が本当の話かどうかはお父様に直接確認すればいいだけの話じゃない。
そうね。桐江さんの言う通りだわ。
果たして金蔵さんがそれを答えてくれますかな。あの人のお考えは時に人の世の常識では測りかねますからな。
どのみちざれ言の域を出んね。第一、黄金幻想自体が親父殿のまやかしだ。ありもしない黄金の話を始めるのはお前たちだけで十分だ。
でも魔女様はおっしゃってるわよ。黄金を見つけた者に家督と全ての財産を引き渡すってね。つまりベアトリーチェ様はお父様の顧問弁護士もしくは金庫番でもあられるってことじゃないのかしら。このような怪しげな文章を子供に託すような怪人物を信用することなどできません。
兄貴、腹を割ってもらうぜ。兄貴の知らない人物が親父の財産管理をしているようなことはあり得るのか。
いや、それはない。私は当主代行として親父殿の全ての財産を把握している。私に知られずにそれらを自由にできる人間はいないはずだ。
じゃあつまりクラウス兄さんの把握していない財産ってことじゃないの？
バカな、そんなものあるわけがない。
あるわよ。兄さんが把握していないお父様の資産。そんなものあるわけがありません。
いや、あるで。それがお父さんの、いやベアトリーチェの隠し方法や。
話を整頓しよう。つまり親父には兄貴も知らない腹心がいた。そしてそいつはずっと黄金の番と運用を任されてきたわけだ。あるいは悪魔の契約まがいのルールで融資した神塚の大富豪か。
その腹心のベアトリーチェさんは自分の黄金を融資する相手として息子兄弟の誰がふさわしいか試したいということなのかしら。
What Kirei said was something that all the siblings wanted clarified. Upon reflection, they realized that during the time Kinzo's strange epitaph had been displayed in the hall beneath the portrait of the witch, they had always whispered that the one who solved the puzzle would receive everything, yet no one had ever clearly stated it. It was something that everyone had hoped might be true. That had, right there, right now, been clearly expressed in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiyamiya family would be given to the one who found the gold.
黄金の隠し場所についてはすでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。条件は碑文を読むことができる者すべてに公平に。黄金を暴けたなら私はすべてをお返しするでしょう。それではどうか今宵を金蔵様との知恵比べにて存分にお楽しみくださいませ。こ 今宵が知的かつ優雅な夜になるよう心よりお祈りいたしております。黄金のベアトリーチェ。
I think that was just added to the tips. I'm gonna check after this part of the chapter.
お父さん、聞こえているはずです。返事をしてください。
The door to Kinzo's study was being violently beaten against over and over again like a percussion instrument. The screams coming from the other side were Klaus's, Rudolph's, and sometimes Ava's voices. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had colored the flavor down the... Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had colored the table down in the dining hall was once again laid out. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being beaten on and Kinzo's face.
皆さんがお呼びですが、いかがいたしますか。
しておけ。神と我が晩餐が沈黙を尊ぶ。
黙らせますか。
必要ない。我が耳には届いておらぬ。
Kinzo coolly tasted his food. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Cannon, who stood in reverse like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth.
マリア様がベアトリーチェ様より手紙を受け取られたとのことで、その真偽を確かめたいのでしょう。
あやつめ、早速始めおったか。さあベアトリーチェ、かけるコインに不足はあるまい。存分に今宵を楽しもうではないか。負ける気はないぞ。お前の微笑みは永遠に私のものだ。もう一度見られるなら富も名誉も我が命すらも惜しくはない。さてルーレットは回り始めた。ボールはどのポケットに落ちるのか。ノワールかルージュか、それとも親の総取りか。さあ始めるがいいベアトリーチェ。私が再びお前に奇跡の力というものを見せてやる。
Umineko no Nakokoro ni. 10 o'clock. And this is where I'll be ending this episode. Right here, right now. So I'm gonna quickly save real quick. I'm gonna overwrite this save file. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, that save file could be overwritten. That save file could be overwritten. So yes, I have no regrets overwriting that save file. And to end off this episode, let's check out the tips. Letter from the Witch. But before that, nothing has been added to the Grimoire. Yeah. Nothing has been added to the Grimoire, so it's time for me to read an epitaph and then a letter to get it imprinted in my mind. So here we go. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved home of old. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream, in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. There the key to the Golden Land sleeps. You who laid hand upon the key must journey as follows to the Golden Land. On the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch revives, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you shall reach the home of the gold. The witch shall praise the wise, and bestow 4 treasures. 1 shall be all the Golden Land's gold. 1 resurrects all the dead people's souls. 1 even revives all they loved they possessed. And 1 for the witch to eternally rest. Rest in peace, my beloved witch, Beatrice. And with that, let's read her letter. How long is her letter? Oh, it's kind of long. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Rokinjima, ladies and gentlemen of the Ushiyamiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family, under the employ of Kinzo-sama. I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but today, Kinzo-sama has announced the termination of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist as of today. And now, there is one part of the contract that I must explain to you all. I, Beatrice, lend Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiyamiya family as interest. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kenzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kenzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If, and only if, that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and entrance for all eternity. Special clause. Beatrice has the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon termination. This is my first time reading it out loud, so I apologize. Special clause. Beatrice has the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushiyamiya family's head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushiyamiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will both be intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden. And with that, this episode of Umineko no Nagukoro ni has been concluded. The mystery is finally on, and I bet the bodies will soon drop. So thank you everybody for watching this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll be back with Umineko no Nagukoro ni, Episode 1, Chapter 8, Legend of the Gold. Saturday, October 4th, 1986. 10 o'clock. Next time. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll be back with Umineko no Nagakore ni, Episode 1, Chapter 8, Legend of the Gold, Saturday, October 4th, 1986, 10 o'clock. Next time. Mikhail!
Okay.